Hello everybody, in this video I'm just doing a quick driving tour from my house in Village of Oak Creek in Sedona to Uptown Sedona to West Sedona and back after we had a snowstorm. So it is mid-February 2024. It snowed all day yesterday, cleared up at about 6 to 6:30 p.m. and then it cleared up overnight. I am going out with the dash cam mounted to my dashboard and just taking a drive to see what it looks like. It's already a very clear day and the snow has melted quite a bit, but it is still a beautiful scenic tour and I hope you enjoy. My name is Dawn Dickinson. The channel is Living in Northern Arizona. I am a realtor in Northern Arizona, so if you ever have a question about buying or selling a home in Sedona, go to the description below and check out my contact information. Give me a call, text, email, and I will get back to you. So we are headed into Uptown Sedona and the West Sedona area after a snowstorm. So this storm happened mid-February, February 9th or so, 2024, and this is typically what happens when we have a snowstorm. So the day before it snowed almost the entire day, and then it cleared up around 6:30 p.m. and then I am going out the next day to check it out with my video camera mounted to the dashboard. And I'm just going to drive uptown so you can see what it looks like. So typically we'll get a nice layer of snow. We probably had 5 or 6 inches of this snowfall this particular storm, and then the next day you could see it's already starting to melt. So starting to melt, and then probably by the day after, or 2 days for sure, all the snow will be melted. So this is a typical snowstorm in Sedona. So Sedona, okay, I did record this in mid-February, about February 9th, but it's about the end of February now before I offloaded it on my camera and I'm doing the narration for it. So typically in February, though, the overnight low could be in the 30s and 40s, and the high could be 50s, sometimes into the 60s. Now, right now, it's late February. We are having a little bit of a warm spell, so it should get up to probably 63, 64 degrees today. But typically, again, 40s and 50s high is not too uncommon in February. So we're leaving the Village of Oak Creek right now. So you can see Village of Oak Creek is a very small town. That car on the right is going into the Bell Rock Trailhead system. Now, I really like the Bell Rock Trailhead system because it's, of course, a beautiful scenic trailhead, but it's not too difficult for old people like me. It is a slight increase in elevation and a very clear trail, so you're not stepping over rocks and gullies that much, and old people like me can do the trail pretty easily. So I do like that trail system. Now, what's going to happen is right now it's late February. It's not a very busy tourist season, but come March, which is right around the corner, it will be a very heavy tourist season, and you may not be able to park in any of the trailheads. So there is the Sedona shuttle that parks up by the church a little ways up, and you could park and get a shuttle to drop you off at the trailheads, the busy trailheads, and take you back and forth probably all through March and April. That will be happening, especially during the weekend. So be prepared for that heavy tourist season coming up. Again, it begins in March because that's when spring break happens, and March and February, very busy. Now in the middle of May, tourist season will start to slow down a little bit, and it's not that busy in the summertime. Now, I left the house around 8 a.m. because I didn't want there to be a lot of traffic, but you can see there is some traffic, and the snow is getting a little bit thicker. So what will happen is in the Village of Oak Creek, now, Village of Oak Creek is part of Sedona. I have a Sedona address, but it's the unincorporated area of Sedona. So you will have the county will be giving your fire and police services, so you'll be a county, you're not in the Sedona city limits. So that's just one thing to know about the Village of Oak Creek. So here, the other thing to know is Village of Oak Creek is at about 4,000 foot elevation, and I am driving towards Uptown Sedona, which is about 4,500 foot elevation. So the snow will be slightly heavier in Uptown and West Sedona, and it may snow on certain days in Uptown and West Side where it doesn't snow in Sedona, just because that tiny little difference in the elevation. So again, you you can see the snow is, we got maybe 5-6 inches in this storm. Very beautiful wintry look. Now on the left is Cathedral Rock. It's very pretty. You cannot really see it that well as you're driving up State Route 179, which is a beautiful scenic byway. So there are many places where it's a scenic overlook where you could pull off of the road if you want to take pictures or get some video of Cathedral Rock or some of the scenic lookouts. So what I'm trying to say is don't pull over on the side of the road to take pictures. That's very dangerous. So I've actually forwarded the film a little bit and I'm getting closer to Uptown. I am passing some of the galleries, some of the early galleries on the right side of the road. Now it's winter time, so typically in the summer and the spring this area is very green and very beautiful, but it's beautiful here in the winter as well. Now, I'm about to go over the bridge that crosses the creek. Now, last year in the spring, last year was a very snow year, heavy snow year, and we had a lot of water flowing. Now, again, the snow hasn't really melted. The New Age, Center for the New Age, we've just passed on the right. Last year, we had so much water in the creek flowing that they had to evacuate the Center for the New Age in some of the areas up in here. I just passed Tlaquepaque on the left. Again, there's more restaurants, shops, galleries that I'm passing as I head over to the Y intersection. Basically, the Y intersection is a giant roundabout, and if you go towards the right, you'll be going towards Uptown Sedona, and if you go towards the left, you'll be going to West Sedona. And also, if you go towards the right, which is where I am bearing off right now, so I'm headed towards Uptown, if you would continue past the point where I turn around, you would make it to Flagstaff, but I'm not going to go there today. So now you'll see, again, it's 8 a.m. in February, very low tourist time of year, but I'm still stuck behind a big van kind of obscuring my view. There's a construction zone, a construction project going on. It seems like there's always a construction project in Sedona, which is a little bit frustrating, especially when it gets kind of busy traffic. So we got construction going on right here, kind of obstructing the view, but you could see how beautiful. You could see the red rocks to the right, and now we're going to go where this Uptown Sedona is where most of the action is in Sedona. And so we're passing like the Pink Jeep Tour headquarters. We passed on the left a lot of shops and restaurants, and all through this area you could see there's shops and restaurants. Now again, this is like 8:30 a.m. by the time I'm driving through here, so none of the shops have opened yet, and so there's not a lot of cars, even though there are some cars driving through. There's not a lot of cars parked in here. Now, these parking areas right here, now they're paid parking, so you do have to pay to park in these areas. There are free parking lots if you would take some of the side streets like Jordan. I think we're about to pass, we may have passed Jordan already. We did pass Jordan. If you go off on Jordan and behind the shops, there are some free parking areas where you could just park and walk uptown. It's not that bad if you want to do that, but if you would be lucky enough to get a space in front of one of these shops, a lot of these are paid parking. And again, I think if you go to the right where we just passed, some of the restaurants and hotels will have small parking lots where there's some free parking, but again, in the busy season, it's kind of hard to find a parking space. Now, this is the last roundabout that I am about to turn around in. And if you would continue going, you would get to like Slide Rock State Park, the beautiful State Route 89A tour to get you all the way to Flagstaff. And I do have other videos on this channel that will show you that tour into Flagstaff, but right now I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to cut the camera so that we're through Uptown Sedona, and I'll be headed now towards West Sedona, which is also very pretty in the winter time. So now we're headed out to West Sedona. Now you could see there's a good amount of snowfall here. It's going to be gone in the next day or two, so I am now close to leaving Uptown Sedona, and I have again hit the construction zone, but I did want you to see it because it's very pretty at this point in time where you could see the red rocks on the left still dusted with that layer of snow. Again, on the right are shops, Wildfire Bread Company, Sound Bites is up there, the Vault is up there, some good restaurants and some shopping up there. Very nice, and you can get some parking along the shops themselves up in that area. I'm about to take the main Y roundabout. This does get very crowded during the heavy tourist season, which I said is coming up in probably starting next week. One thing I'm going to do right now is I have to mail a letter, so please excuse me. I am going to pull off into the post office right here, and I'm going to mail my card for my mother, who is in a memory care facility in Avondale, and so I'm going to mail her a card real quick at the mailbox. And then I'm going to be on my way. I'm leaving the post office now, and then we're going to go into West Sedona. Here's the second roundabout after the Y. And again, you could see even 8 a.m. in the not busy season, you still have traffic that you have to deal with. And you have to be careful in those two roundabouts, the one at Brewer and the one at the Y, because there's a lot of heavy traffic in the tourist season, actually all the time. And it gets difficult because people that aren't used to the roundabouts don't know how to navigate them, and you could have some issues. So just be very careful in those roundabouts. So now I'm headed into Uptown Sedona. You can see there's a beautiful blanket of snow that is still on the ground. You can see, of course, you can't see it so well in the dash. If you would be looking towards the right-hand side, there are just beautiful, breathtaking views everywhere. But now I'm in the main part of town. I'll be passing like the Whole Foods. Pretty soon I'm passing my favorite title company, Yavapai Title. I use those quite a bit, but there's still all sorts of shops, restaurants, all sorts of stuff in West Sedona, and a lot of housing. So if we're going to talk about housing in Sedona, I want to let you know that right now, of course, we're in late February 2024. The median list price for houses that are active on the market is, let me look it up, it's $1.2 million. So, of course, my phone is not going to want to unlock it because I saved that. $1.2 million is the median list price for any homes for sale. And this isn't all of Sedona, so it's going to be slightly less in the Village of Oak Creek, and this is the average of all. $1.2 million list price, $522 a square foot. So if you're using that as a gauge to determine if a price is appropriate for a house, $522 a square foot. Now realize it will be less than that if the home is distressed, and more than that if it's got a fantastic view or if it's been remodeled to the hilt. So that's about right. Average days on market, 121 days. So sometimes people will call and say, oh, it's been on the market 60 days. Something must be wrong. Well, no, that's not really that uncommon. 121 average days on the market. So that's a little bit about housing prices if you're thinking of moving to Sedona or retiring in Sedona or maybe buying a second home in Sedona. But again, after the storm, it's just so beautiful. It's nice to take a drive in if you don't have anywhere to go. You could see the roads. They're a little bit wet, but they're not icy at this point because, again, the snow melts very fast. Now I am passing Shelby and Rodeo, so on the right is going to be the Safeway. Other stores in the Safeway complex as well, but I'm passing the Safeway. There are two main grocery stores, a Safeway and Bashas', but there's also the Whole Foods, and I think there's a Fresh Foods, something like that. I don't remember the name, I'm sorry. So those are the main places. Of course, there's an Ace Hardware in the Village of Oak Creek and in West Sedona, very good shopping stores. There's not a Lowe's or a Home Depot, but there is, we've just passed on the left, there is a small building supply store as well, gas stations that we just passed. The price of gas in Sedona is weird because when it's way high in Phoenix, it's lower in Sedona. When it's low in Phoenix, it's about the same or higher in Sedona. It doesn't seem to fluctuate as much as other parts of the state. So that's a little bit weird right now. I just filled up this morning. Gas was $3.19 a gallon. Again, this is February 2024. So I'm going to ride to the end. It's not the end of West Sedona, but I'm going to drive to Dry Creek Road, which is where the Realty One Group office, and I'm going to turn around. But this is going to give you a good idea of what Sedona looks like after a blanket of snow has been dropped the next day. Like, look how clear the sky is. But again, I'm turning around here at Dry Creek, and I will resume and let you see what it's like when you're going to, now you're going back, right? So now I cut the camera up to this spot. This is really a pretty spot, past the last traffic light, leaving West Sedona, going towards the Y, which will either bring you to Uptown if you go straight, or if you go right, you will take the 179 back to Village of Oak Creek. But this is a very pretty area. Now, on the right, we have passed the road that takes you up to the airport. Again, Airport Mesa has incredible views, and of course, there's the small Sedona Airport. There are a couple of gated communities and small communities of housing that we have passed on the right, and then we're about to make it back to the Y intersection. So we'll get a little bit of a traffic jam starting up here. Now, if it were April right now, this I would be already stopped, like long back, trying to get to this Y, because that's how much traffic we get. But right now in February, it's not too bad. I'm about to hit the roundabout at Brewer, and you can see there's still snow on the rooftops, snow in the treetops, snow on the ground. And then that road will take you to Brewer, which that's just a residential area back there in Brewer. And there is the Los Betos, no, that's a Filibertos on the right that we just passed, an old gas station. And this is the Y intersection that you need to just be careful. Now, only look to the left when you're approaching the roundabouts, because it doesn't matter what's going on the right-hand side. So check the left. There are some restaurants on the right and the left, a couple of galleries coming up, a couple of little shops. But here is, again, now we're headed towards the Village of Oak Creek. Now, you could see in the distance, actually it keeps getting obscured, you can see Cathedral Rock again at some point. Now I am passing the bridge where the creek flows, and again in the spring it can flow very heavy, not really so much right now, but it can flow very heavy. And then I am getting close to Tlaquepaque. Now, Tlaquepaque will have a lot of traffic in the heavy tourist season. In fact, there will be somebody directing traffic right before the bridge that we're passing right now. So we have passed Tlaquepaque. There are a couple of shops, a hairdressing place on the left, but now I'm cutting out because we're getting close to back to home, Village of Oak Creek. But I wanted you to see this, how pretty it looks with that layer of cloud just kind of hanging on Courthouse Butte, just kind of laying there, but yet the sun is still shining, so you can kind of see the snow reflecting, and it's really very beautiful, this ride back home. So this is just me getting up early and taking a little drive after a snowstorm. This is how I could spend my day, and it's really a nice view. So my name's Dawn Dickinson. I am a realtor in Northern Arizona, so if you ever have a question about real estate or thinking of moving to Sedona, my contact information is always in the description below. You can give me a call, text, email. If I can't answer your call right away, I will get back to you. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. The channel is Living in Northern Arizona. I post videos every single week about Northern Arizona, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up, and I hope to see you back here again next week.